All right, you're going to have to deal with my raspy, sick voice. But for this digital design project, you're going to start out with a photograph of an object. That could be a person, place, thing, a location. That is going to be your beginning point. And then I'm going to teach you how to break that photograph down into polygons that create what's called a low poly digital design. So if you look at these examples, they're broken up into shapes that are polygons. Polygons have straight sides to them, and you're going to be building those polygon pieces. So the first thing you need to do is go to the internet. I like to do Google and click Google Images, and you need to search for a school appropriate photograph to begin with. Your images cannot be referencing guns, drugs, alcohol, weapons, nothing that's relating to gang affiliations. And if you're doing people, they need to be clothed school appropriately. They cannot be participating in public displays of affection, and the person cannot be a known criminal, which means they have been arrested for any type of crime. So I am going to just look for our school mascot's face to begin with. Okay, and you have to start with a photograph to begin with. So when you look for a photograph, you want to make sure that there's no copyright image. So this one has no copyright logo on it. You could use that one. But here's an example of a watermark copyright logo. So these printed cameras and numbers 1, 2, 3, that is a watermark. That means that photograph has been copyrighted and you cannot use that. And you also cannot begin with an image that's already a computer generated digital image. It has to be a photograph to begin with. So when you find the one you like, you want to try to get to the biggest version of the picture. Then you're going to right click, save image as. Make sure that you're still in your art folder on your G drive, and then title it something you'll remember, and then click save. And then you're going to open this up in Photoshop. So you're going to go File, Open, and then you want to click on the photograph from your G drive that you're going to work with. So I'm actually going to work with a picture of my dog that I already have saved. So this is my pet. His name is Dundee, and I'm going to turn him into a low poly design. So the first thing that I want to do is delete the background around the image. So get out your Photoshop cheat sheet, and we're starting with tool number 3. You're going to click and hold and choose magnetic lasso. Then what you're going to do is click somewhere on the edge of the image, move your mouse a little bit, and click again. Everywhere you click, a square will appear, and it will make the line stay right where you click. So the more times you click, the more precise the edge of your line is going to be. But some of you might notice that your line is jumping over all crazy and you can't figure out how to stop it. Double click. It will stop that from jumping. Then you need to deselect, Control D to make the lines go away, and then you just need to try again. So I'm going to move a little bit and click, move a little bit and click. And it's okay if your line is not specifically on the edge of the image, because these low poly designs have kind of a jagged edge to them anyway, so that's okay. All right, so now I'm going to include kind of this shadowy spot that's his back. And when I get back to where I started, I want to put my mouse over the top of the first place I clicked, and then click the mouse again, and it will turn to the marching ants or the selection line. All right, now what I need to do is make sure my layer is unlocked. So I need to find my layer window, which is right here. It says layers. If it's collapsed, you might see the triangles on, or the diamond shapes on top of each other. But you're going to want to put your mouse on that padlock and click to unlock. Now, I can start deleting. So I want to delete the background around my image. So in Photoshop, when you click backspace, that's going to delete, except it just deleted my animal. I don't want to delete the animal. I want to delete the background. So I'm going to undo that by clicking Control Z. And now I need to inverse my selection. So on my mouse, I'm going to click on the right side and I'm going to choose Select Inverse. Inverse means opposite. When I click that, now I get dots along the edge of the box plus the edge of my object, and now I'm going to delete this by clicking backspace. So now I have deleted the background, and if you forget to unlock your layer, so let's see, right now the layer's locked. If you forget to unlock the layer, you've right-clicked, select inverse, and then you click backspace. And then if you click OK, it might switch it to a solid color. Or if you do backspace and it was still set to content aware, which I can't even see where that one is. But it's going to fill your background with something that you don't want. So what you need to do is cancel that and then unlock background, backspace, and it deletes it. In Photoshop, when you see checkers, that means you deleted something. So now I want to get all the dots off my screen. I'm going to click Control D to deselect. And now I have to make a copy of this layer. So right now I'm on layer 0. I'm going to click Control J and it's going to make a copy. I'm going to put my mouse right over the top, double click, and I'm going to title that Low Poly. Okay, now I'm ready to begin to build in the polygon pieces that I showed you from the beginning screen. And I'm going to open up one that I already previously started. Okay, so when I zoom in, Control plus, spacebar is going to let you move around the picture if you hold spacebar and then click and drag. Or you can use your navigator, which my navigator is right here. Okay, so if you look at this ear, I have already turned Dundee's ear to a low poly form. So the easiest thing to do is to zoom in on a portion of your picture and look at your directions. You need to find tool number 3 on your cheat sheet. Tool number 3, you're going to click and hold and choose Polygono Lasso tool. Now what I'm going to do is draw polygons based upon one section or area that's the same color. So I can just click, click, click. Everywhere you click is going to make a corner. When you get back to where you started, you see the open dot. Click again. Now I'm going to fill that with color found from my photograph. So I'm going to go Filter, Blur, Average. What that does is it's going to fill that space with the average color that's inside the space. Then you're just going to click and draw a new polygon. Now I can do the long way, Filter, Blur, Average. Or now my computer has learned the last tool that I've used, and you want your polygons to touch. So right here, when I go Filter, right underneath Average was the last one, and it's telling me that Alt-Control-F is the shortcut for the keyboard function. So now I could just put my fingers on that key. So I'm going to draw a polygon. I'm going to put on my left hand a ring finger on Control, my middle finger on Alt, my first finger on F. And now when I do all of those at one time, it fills that. So I might leave my fingers there in place, so I just have to quickly click them. Now here's what's going to happen if you draw a polygon that goes across too many colored sections. So my polygon has dark brown, white, light brown. Now when I do the fill, it's going to fill it with the average of those three colors. And that's not going to make sense for my picture because now I can't tell where the nose was. If I just draw one giant shape over the eye and fill that, now I don't even see the pupil of my eyeball. So I don't want to make my areas so large that I lose the effect of the actual image. So instead what I would do is just create these polygons by color section. So now that one just turned white. If I do a polygon here, that stays the brown color. So you can see how you can still maintain these individual areas of color from that photograph just by making your lines smaller. So up here, for example, I'm just going to want to draw where I see black and then move to this like yellow-brown spot on his eye, and that stays more of the yellow-brown color. So it is beneficial to work with smaller shapes than bigger shapes. Your final image should still be recognizable from the photo that you started with, but it should look abstracted. And that's how you're going to proceed with this assignment. So be patient, go slow, zoom in. If you need to undo something, remember you've got your history box where you can undo everything. You can just go backwards one layer at a time. Control Z is the last thing. Will undo the very last thing that you did. Make sure you save often so you don't lose your work.